Here we are. Welcome, everybody, to A Man's Journey. And this is the first episode, the first video of 2024. So, Happy New Year to all of you. And I would love to start this new year with sharing the three biggest lessons that I've learned in 2023. Before I'm going to dive into them, I would first love to honestly share with you how 2023 has been one of the most challenging years of my life. And the reason for that is because I had to face myself in the deepest, most raw and vulnerable way I've ever did. And what I mean by that is I needed to cut through the bullshit and really look at the areas of my life where I didn't take responsibility and where I was still kind of like brushing it off and just looking the other way. And, life has its own way to slowly turn your head towards the things that you don't want to look at to actually step into your power. And stepping into your power doesn't always feel comfortable. It doesn't always come easy. Like owning your greatness and really recognizing where you're standing in your own way can sometimes be incredibly hard, incredibly confronting, incredibly challenging. But we as man in those challenges, that's where we grow. So yeah, I'm really excited to share those three lessons since they've taught me so much. And I would love to start with lesson one. And lesson one, which I shared in my newsletter, which you can sign up in the descriptions down below. Lesson one that I shared with my community is if you go all the way. And it's a quote from a very incredible, I don't even know if it's a poem or however you call it, but Charles Bukowski, he writes in, I don't even know the name of it, but it says, if you're going to try, go all the way or don't even start. And I somehow created this phrase. It's a little bit different, if you go all the way. But I have this phrase in my head. I don't even know for how many years, but last year it helped me so much. And I will tell you why. And in those moments, and there were many moments last year where I was down on my knees, where I wanted to give up, I wanted to throw in the towel, I just questioned everything, every area of my life. It was that quote that helped me to get, out of the dark night of the soul, like out of those dark places, and not to run away from, but to actually start walking right into it, welcome it. When I was resisting, when I was trying to avoid, suppress, when I was like so contracted, it was those moments that helped me to take a deep breath. That phrase helped me to take a deep breath and just really, take a step forward to the things that I needed to face. And I wrote it so beautifully, and I just want to read it to you. And what I wrote was, and when I thought I couldn't go any further, I did another step and another one, slowly rising out of these dark places. And what I would love now to dive deeper into is, I'm not just talking about physical steps. I'm talking about steps that I needed to discover for myself in those moments, which looked like reaching out to a brother of mine and just sharing with him my defeat, letting myself be seen in that, taking accountability and just acknowledging the hurt I created through certain actions in my partner and really owning up for that. Another step was to forgive myself. Forgive myself for the things that I did wrong in the past, and the guilt and shame and blame that I was holding towards myself for so long. There were many steps along the way in 2023 that I was taking, and each one of them looked differently. Sometimes it was about cutting through the bullshit and just getting my shit together, you know. And what it did to me, this phrase, last year, it changed my perspective on the hardships, the challenges, the discomfort that we face when we are in those dark places. And when we are able to meet the pain inside of us, the pain that I normally was unconsciously running away from, trying to resist, trying to avoid, trying to suppress. And I'm pretty sure that you have some pain that you try to run away from, try to suppress, try to avoid, because we all have it. Something in the past that we don't want to face. When we start to turn around, and we're actually able to meet our deepest fears, our deepest pain, that's when we start to regain power. And what I recognized in my reflection of 2023 was how much power I was giving away by not facing those fears, by not facing the pain, by not facing what I needed to face in my life. It was tremendous. And by facing it, by turning towards it, I was leaning into my own resistance. And what I was able to meet there was myself. I was able to meet myself in the deepest, most powerful, and also at the same time, most vulnerable way. And it was my own resistance to meet myself that was holding me back. And one thing that I asked the people that I was sending the newsletter to was, what if your challenges are an answer of God, the universe, life, however you want to call it, right? To meet yourself in the deepest way possible, to reveal your true potential, strength, and power, and become the change you want to see in the world. The potential you carry within is infinite. To make the impossible possible starts with you. And it reminds me it reminds me of that you are the answer. I am the answer. Everything that we're looking for is right here inside of us. And the power that we're looking for, the courage, the forgiveness, the compassion, the kindness, the love that we want to have from the outside world, from the external, that's where our deepest teachings lies. To give those things towards ourselves, to cultivate them for ourselves. And that's where we start to really, I believe, make the impossible possible. And that's when we become a living embodiment of the change that we want to see in the world. And that what affects not just the people around us, but that just radiates into the world in a way that influences others to recognize the same. So that was lesson 1. Lesson 2 was all about believing in yourself. Believe in yourself, your dream, your mission. And that is a big one, since I have a really, really big mission to support men all over the world. A big mission that I'm looking forward to bring even into more existence. That I want to bring, I want to be in even deeper service in 2024 than 2023. And I have certain visions that I'm really, really looking to bring into existence, to really, really bring into life. So one thing I would love to share with you, which is something very, very personal, is that every time when I actually dreamed big, every time when I sat down and thought about my mission, my vision for the world, I was always able to witness this little voice in my head who was, who do you think you are? You know? And it was quite strong. It was very subtle and quiet, but it has a lot of potency. And I knew this voice quite well since I was living with that voice my entire life, and it was holding me back from joining the breakdance club. It was holding me back from getting, like really going out there and killing it at basketball since I was incredibly good. It was holding me back from, just pursuing certain dreams, certain passions that I had, especially when I was younger. There was a stage when for sure I was stepping more and more out of my comfort zone to face that, but I left a lot of opportunities behind me because of that. Who do you think you are? And what resulted from that, what I just shared, was a lot of procrastination, a lot of self-sabotage, perfectionism. Even last year, there was so much overthinking, so much, oh my God, no, I first need to be like this, or I first need to have this together, that I can start this, or that I can do this. And I mean, Warrior Movement, the gathering that I brought into existence here where I live, which were in total 20 gatherings since the day I started. We have 30 men now in the WhatsApp group, and I don't even know, I have to calculate down how many men were joining overall. And it all started by just doing it. By just having that belief. And to be truly honest, when I started Warrior Movement, it was someone else believing in me, and it was my good friend Atlas, who I was telling him about it, and he was like, man, just start, do it next Saturday. I was like, okay, you know what, man? Yeah, okay. But I would love to share some questions this voice might tell you, to simply bring your awareness towards that, because whatever your mission is, how big it might look from the outside, right? It might be helping men on a global scale, or it might just be like creating the most beautiful art form that touches people in your community. The bigness, the vastness of it is you carried within. And what it comes down to is that at one stage, when you're about to do something big, you know that something needs to change. Especially for all of us who have that little voice. And I think we all have that voice that doubts things, that thinks about the failures, all the things that could go wrong. But when we start to feel into this purpose, feel into that mission, and really feel into the vastness of it, the bigness, right? There's a part of us that is scared. And that's, I think, totally normal. And the most important thing is to not run away from that, to face that. And the question that I was sharing with the people that I was sharing my newsletter with was, what if I'm not made for this? What if I fail? What if I make mistakes? What if I struggle? What if I don't have what it takes? And here's now the important thing, what I wrote, and I will just read it to you. Let me tell you this. You will fail. You will struggle. You will make mistakes. And yes, right now you might not have what it takes to bring your whole life's purpose into existence. And when I was writing that newsletter, I was sitting there and I was like, man, yeah, for sure not. That's my life's purpose. That's my life's mission, my soul purpose, however you want to call it. What do you expect? Do you think you have it all already laid out? You already developed all the skin? You have all the potential, and I was talking about this in lesson 1. The infinite potential is already here. But you need to start embodying it, bringing it into existence, and developing the skills that then allow you to hold that purpose, hold that mission and vision that you have. And by just becoming really real with you. Okay, I will fail. I will struggle. I will make mistakes. And yes, you know what? Right now, to have a global community of thousands of men who are connected all over, I don't have the skills to create that right now, but I will get there. You humble yourself down to where you are right now. And that brings us to lesson 3. That brings us to lesson 3 in a moment, because I would love to first finish lesson 2 with something really, really important. But you have everything that you need to do the next step. And this is all that matters. The next step. Have your bigger vision in the back of your mind. Hold on to it. But focus on the next step along the way. Because if you want to gain self-belief through your life's purpose and this incredibly back vision in the back of your head, right? This big, not back, big vision in the back of your head. If you waiting to believe in yourself when you arrive there, the belief comes through the steps. If you focus on the first next step, what is it that I can do? Okay, let's define my vision. Let's define my vision in one sentence. Okay, I did this. Okay, cool. That gives me some clarity. Okay, cool. Maybe I can do that. Okay, so now let's create a strategy. How I can get there. How many years might that take me? Okay, 10. Okay, let's break it down now to each year. How would that look like? And maybe you start talking to other people who already achieved a mission like that. Maybe you start listening to them, listening to podcasts, so you gain certain informations that will help you to gain more clarity about the next step that you can do. And trust me, I have been running in circles, headless, trying to figure it out without that clarity. But when you go and start to identify your vision, your mission, right? And then you walk backwards, and then you define just the next step. That's what I realized last year. One step at a time. One step. If you're going to try, go all the way, or don't even start. And it starts with one step at a time. It started with one step, and it will end with a step. So, trust me, you will end up getting there. So number 3, and this is a really, really important one. Meet yourself where you are. And I will share a little bit more about that. And I want you to just get a little bit imaginary here. Okay, I want you to imagine having those old school maps, right? Where you had your country, for example, or your city. And you wanted to go from point A to point B. So you had a destination. First of all, you needed to define a destination, a point where you wanted to go. Who you want to be, right? Your mission, your vision. And here's one thing that I would love to add that might be really, really helpful for a lot of you. When it comes to your vision, your mission, and your purpose, do not just think about how it would look on the external, how it manifests outside of you. Start first by envisioning and feeling into how it manifests inside of you. What kind of man do you need to be? What kind of woman do you need to become? What kind of traits do you need to cultivate? And that is a big one, because from that you are able to slowly start embody the vision that you're going to bring out into existence, into life. But what I wanted to share is, for example, you want to become clear on, the next step, right? Or the next 10 steps. Or you have a certain goal, a vision of who you want to be, something external in your life, whatever it is. You need to define a destination on that map. And that is point B. Let's call it point B, your destination. So to actually get there, right? And you just have that map. No Google Maps, no nothing, okay? No AI whatsoever that can help you. You're walking this path, one step at a time, you remember? So if you have point B, right? If you want to get there in the best possible way, you need to define point A, where you start, right? And when I say about meet yourself where you are, you need to become radically honest with yourself where you are. where you bullshit yourself, where you pretend, where you think that you are somewhere else than where you maybe not. So what I mean by meeting yourself where you are is the following. If you pretend, oh no, like I'm already creating safety in my relationship. Oh no, I'm already like super disciplined in the way I show up in the gym. But you only like show up once in a week. You're not really following your routine, and you're actually more on your phone rather than working out. Or you start, sharing your feelings and emotions over your partners. It could be you procrastinating with certain things that you have to do for your own business to actually bring it to the next step, the next milestone. Whatever it is, it's about getting really radically honest with yourself. So if you pretend, right? Oh no, I'm doing great. Oh no, I'm creating safety. Oh no, I'm doing the things that I said I would do. And you pretend, you place that pin point A, at the wrong place on the map. So now from getting for that pretending point, right, to your destination will take you way, way, way longer. And you might just run around in circles because you start reading the map in the wrong way. And that's sometimes a really big problem that we can have. We might think about that we're actually doing the work when in the physical realm, in our actions, we are actually not doing it. And that's something that I needed to learn. That was a big one. That was a hard one. It was a challenging one because it is humbling. But when you start to humble yourself, meet yourself where you are, that's where you can learn. That's where you can really put that pin A at the right place on that map to then know the exact next step to get closer. One step at a time, right? Point B. And that is something that it's a hard one. It's not a trust one. I just read that here. It's a hard one. It's a hard one because you have to humble yourself, and you have to put aside your ego and thinking that you have it all figured out, you have it all together, and you actually have to meet yourself where you are. And what happens with that, you actually come back to being a human being and not having it all figured out. And letting go of that fucking social media filtered Instagram shit that we sometimes even live in our own reality, pretending that we have it all together when we actually don't. When reality reflects back that we don't. When we're not signing up clients. When our partner doesn't feel safe to share her feelings. When you're still overweight. You still don't feel healthy in your body. You still feel sick every time you eat because you're just putting junk food into your mouth rather than actually choosing some healthy food that you said you would. You're still showing up late every time to an appointment that you said you wouldn't. And that is where we have to start to become radically honest. And what that helps us is to take ownership. And I think that's where we start to take full responsibility. When we are able to take full responsibility, and it's uncomfortable. But like I said, right? It's in those hardships, lessons 1, hardships, the discomfort and the challenges that we grow. So when we can welcome that hardship, we can actually meet ourselves where we are. And through that, we can actually then start walking ourselves step by step towards the destination where we want to be, who we want to be, and what kind of life we want to create. So these were the 3 biggest lessons that I've learned that taught me a lot last year, which I'm bringing into this new year 2024. And yeah, if you like that video, if you gained something out of it, make sure to subscribe to support the channel. I really want to make this thing, I really want to grow this channel. I really want to show up more frequently, more consistently. That is a commitment that I made to myself. And I would love to have your support with that. So please subscribe, like, and if you have something that you gain from what I just shared with you, please write it in the comments down below. I would love to know. Or send me a private DM on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. I don't care. But thank you so much for listening, and I see you with the next one.